Hey guys, it's Rob here, and as you can see, we're at the top bank because today I'm bringing you a hard mode top video. Before we start, I just want to say thanks to you guys for hitting the sub button all the way to 1K, because now I'm a YouTube partner, so that is absolutely insane. I still am in disbelief. So just thank you so much for the support, and here's to even more educational content in the future. And one thing before we do start this video is it is assumed you know the basics of regular TOB before starting hard modes. So it's important to be decent at melee Zarpus and especially P3 Verzik tanking. That's what I would say before starting hard mode. And notes about the setup here. A Blood Fury can be great if you're a main, but I'm an Iron Man, so I don't really want to waste the charges. It does use charges quite fast with the scythe. And it also depends on how many max hits the Blood Fury loses in your setup, so I would check a DPS calculator for that. And also Void is excellent, but the thing is we don't know who our teammates are, so we prefer to play in the safe side, especially in a learner setup. And it is important to note this setup can still easily get GM time even without the Void. So I'm gonna go find a team on We Do Raids, and I'm just gonna bring you guys along with me. I'm really excited for this video, and I'll see you guys when we have a team. So we're South Freeze for the first raid, and our pre-pots are just Divine Super Combat, Karam 1 to get back to full, and then we Angler to get above full. The Saturated Heart is not technically necessary. Also, this Karam 1 you could replace with another brew if you wanted to be super safe. That is totally acceptable. And a couple of just fundamental things starting off is focus on your own gameplay. Like, you can't control, these are fairly low KC teammates, not like the lowest KC in the world. They have some KC, but you know, like, we don't know what they're gonna do, so just focus on our own gameplay here. We are South Freeze, so, and you see we just have a lot of extra supplies because we're not taking Void here. That's just a choice I make to make it more consistent here. You see here, because I have all two-handed weapons, I don't need to drop my salve, which is nice. We're going to try to play as simply as possible and just get a simple KC. We're going to let our teammates maul here. Hopefully someone else uses a hammer. Alright, here we go. And it's already 0 defense, so we can hold our second spec. If it's not 0 defense, you always want to spec there to get it to 0 defense. It's way more important than anything else there. And as Freezer, you just want to back up to the T-bow line and start T-bowing. Here we can get one more bow in, and you want to get ready to freeze early. And you'll see just playing safe and consistently is how you're going to get good hard mode top KC. So we're always going to freeze 4s, even though sometimes the North Freezer will freeze 4s, but we're just going to always freeze 4s because we don't know what the North Freezer is going to do here. And same if you were North Freeze, you don't know if the South Freeze is going to freeze 4s or not, so. We are going to play safe and just freeze this blood. And then back to the T-bow line. Almost late there. That was the last possible tick because that crab is one tick from going in. And you see my teammate here doesn't have a wand for, like, I have the 15% damage in the wand, but he doesn't have that, which is unfortunate. He's also blood barraging, which loses a bit of DPS. You want to ice barrage the clump as much as you can just because it does good DPS. Hopefully they know to skip. I'll say skip. And we're going to catch 4s because we don't know if our... You see, in that case, our teammate even needed us to catch 4s, so it's good that we just did it by default anyway. We're going to Halley to try to finish. Nice and easy. So in a 4-man or a 5-man, I would say BGS is probably worth it here on Bloat. There's a chance we don't get a 2 down anyway, so if we get a 3 down, that's fine. But yeah, so my recommendation for freezing at Maiden is N123, S124, just always, I would say, until you're in an advanced team doing like stacking or something, then you can, you know, get complicated. Here, I would always Angler into Bloat, and I don't know, sometimes I do take that fly. If you miss one tick, you can avoid taking the fly. It's kind of up to what you like, but there we saved the tick. And the big things that bloat are when bloat goes down, you don't want to get complacent because the shadows are still going to come down. So here we just want to see, I know I'm going to make it in time there, past the shadow on the floor. So, and you always just want to stare at the ground here and get ready to move off the tile if you need be. And you know what? Forget even the thought of a 2 down because a 3 down is way safer and you don't have to really think too much about how many hits you get in as precisely. So the other thing about bloat in hard mode is that he can turn 2 times potentially. So you're gonna see in this video, a lot of times I'm just gonna say the things that are different in hard mode because it's kind of expected if you're trying hard mode, you kind of know already. You see that was the second turn there, but it's assumed you already know the basics of Tob like I was saying, so I will be trying to focus mainly on the hard mode Tob specific mechanics. So here we get one more hit and then we're gonna have to run and it will be a 3 down, but that's okay. There I saw I was running into a foot, so I made sure I path differently. Teammate died, it's okay. You see, this is why you're noticing I didn't take a stomp on the first 2 downs, and the reason why is because I don't know what my teammates are gonna do, if they're gonna make mistakes, and I don't even want to have to worry about Tick eating a fly or something. So in this case, I just prefer to play it safe and stay high health. And then I can just kind of ignore my teammates' mistakes if it's like a small one like that. And again, I'm careful pathing towards bloat. Because in normal Tob, you can obviously just path however you want, but in hard mode, there might be more things to hit you, so always be careful. Here at this chest, my recommendation, you don't need any staminas anymore in this room, so I would just grab either a pea pot and a shark, or I just buy mushroom potatoes usually because they weigh a little bit less than a shark. It doesn't really matter, but it's better, so we take it. Okay, why do 3 people have mage on? That's is a little concerning. I think this guy thinks he's mage, but I think I'm mage, so we're gonna we're gonna figure that out here. But it's fine. At the beginning, there's not too many things to hit, so it's not a big deal anyway. Oh, nice. Yeah, this guy is the dual maracas. They're really good for this room, actually. Underrated. Really good in this room. It's the best Vortic weapon for this room, even without the suit. So you always want to be ready for this. I actually wasn't really ready for it there, so I'm missing half my switch, but make sure you get the Chally off here. And then focus on the next wave coming in. If it goes to melee, we can hit the demiboss, but unless it goes melee, it's not really too worth hitting, especially you see on mage here, it's not really worth hitting. We are fudging the switches a little bit, but so we just keep killing stuff. One thing I did want to mention that I forgot to mention is the plugin that I have that's showing the waves is very important for hard mode because the demi bosses come on waves 10, 20, and 30, which I should have mentioned before the first demi, but you know, all good. So next demi's coming right now, so you'd want to get ready, and then we're gonna scythe Chally, which is what I meant to explain, but that's okay. I plan to have multiple raids in this video anyway, so here we want to barrage those doubles. We just want to keep killing any small mages here. This guy definitely thinks he's mage and he should be meleeing. But I also don't have a good melee weapon because I thought he was meleeing, so. On one hand, I don't know, because he's the role that's usually melee, I would say, so. I don't know. We are killing all the big mages though, which is good for this part, so. Gonna kill a couple of small melees. This last demi, you just want to pray against this demi-boss. So we're gonna help kill the aggros here. Make sure we don't run out of prayer. Can barrage that because there's like one melee, but the rest were mage. And you see, I am trying to pray against this, but even if you miss one, you have a bunch of teammates that could also take the aggro of the demi, so it's very unlikely that you die from it, really. I mean, also, I think it's max, it's like a maybe 30 off prayer. So not the most scary thing in the world. So this demi is just normal, and then now for the demi bosses, I mean for the boss rather, this is actually one of the harder parts of the raid, especially for a learner. So here I'm starting away because the range one is a bit harder. There's a bit less leeway for the range. So you see I start range because it's easier just to be away already for range. And then I'm going to move in as if it's going to mage. I'll switch to my mage stuff. And now I'll go back out. You just guess one of the two. Here I'm guessing melee, which it turned out it was, which is nice. Here we can move it a little closer back. And staying against the boss means it's guaranteed, more or less guaranteed not to move, which is really nice as well. So see here I move back away because it's a little bit easier to get in. You have a bit more room for error there, so make sure you get your prayer up for sure, but if you're a little late on the movement part on getting in for mage, then you have a little bit of leeway in that regard. See, like that? See, my team took a little bit of damage, but not much. That's not my fault they died, just saying. You gotta eat if you're low, that's a thing for sure. Just make sure you're not dying outright just because you're too low HP to take another hit. Because you do lose a lot of points at the chest for a deaths in hard mode top. Soda Seg, let's see what I have for Soda Seg. So Soda Seg pretty similar to regular, more or less. The last set of balls we always tick eat. And the main things in this room are all but one player is chosen for the maze. So my teammate missed and I'm backup, so I'm gonna send a spec here. I hit mine. And we can pretty much play like normal. You'll see how to do the death balls when they come. There are two of them instead of regular tobs, so essentially the two people with the balls go on the outside and then the other two people go on the DD tile, like the regular death dot tile for the balls. Here we're actually going to skip because we're going to hit it under 66%, which is nice. That's always nice. So here you see the maze, it's actually split into different parts, so other people see the different parts. So we just start the maze like normal though, there's nothing we can do different. We just hope our team kind of follows up fast enough. It looks like we're good. And worst case, you take one tornado. It doesn't really do all that much damage, so not really worth panicking too much in the maze. Just hope your teammates do the best they can. So it's our turn to back up again. Honestly, this boss is really chill. With Torva, it's hard to even get hit by the melee, so I can really just AFK for most of this. So it looks like we are going to get one more set of death balls here at the end. And it's interesting to note, like, we have to kind of decide whether we're tick eating or everyone's kind of high health, so we could, in theory, just split them anyway. But the norm in hard mode top is to tick eat them. So it's interesting to see what people do here at the end when we get one last set. I'm interested to see. So, you know, just remember, like, if a ball goes on me, obviously, I have the ability to tick eat it, so I'll be fine to do that. Okay, I got it. So I'm gonna tick eat it. And you want to do it by the animation of the head bob right here. So watch his next head bob. You can eat the food basically. It's kind of a specific timing, but you just gotta keep trying it and you'll get it eventually. I think it's again my turn to back up. And I missed. Can't win them all, you know? And it's fine, your teammates might die. I just chanced that melee'd, so that's gonna happen, but he could have brewed there, just saying, but it's alright. Everything's fine. Well, 4 deaths. Where are all the deaths coming? You know, it happens though. It happens though. And this is why we're not taking Void, because our teammates are liable to make mistakes, and it's always good to just have extra supplies in that case, because who knows what's gonna happen at Verzik, you know? So regardless, so I'm gonna buy a stamina. If you're with a good team, you can get away without this, but like nowadays it's not as needed, but let's still bring it. And I'm gonna go 4 brews, 4 restores, just to be safe on both fronts, basically. I'm a little bit low on the food, but as long as I don't make mistakes, I'll be absolutely fine, so nothing to worry about there. And you see, we take the same corner as the previous room. Zarpus is kind of a funny room because Zarpus is actually easier in hard mode than it is in regular. It has only 200 defense instead of 250. There's a smaller area for these things to spawn because they can't spawn on the back 2 rows, as you can see. And you can't lose ticks on the last part, which is like, well, I mean, you know, you can, and people obviously die on the last part, but you know, in theory, you have a free tick lossless screech phase, which is nice. So it's just a nice room in hard mode. And you just want to get its defense down as fast as possible, so these guys are all hammering, so I'm kind of reacting to what my team's doing, so I'm going to double BGS after they Warhammer. And we're going to go from there. Make sure we're potted up, of course. And obviously in this room, you always want a redemption if you're going to die. So for this KC, I'll just do a 5-tick. But you should know that it's not really important to... Okay, well, we're not 5-ticking anymore. All right, never mind. We're doing 5.33. It's fine. But the point being, it's not really important to 5-tick. Some people ask, like, oh, do I have to 5-tick Zarpus for hard mode Tav? And the answer is no. So that's pretty much what I would say about it. It is a nice thing to do. It is fun, I would say, but necessary, definitely not. Nice thing about hard mode is you can rag like all these tiles, and as long as you have 1 tile left to stand on, you're good for the end, so. So putting on redemption early just in case. Alright, so you see we still have a tile, we still have 2 tiles to stand on that one too. So here, as soon as Zarpus turns for the first time, if he's not turned to us, we just swing immediately. That's how it goes. And then if he does turn to us, then we'd obviously have to wait. So that's the thing you have to be careful about there. So far, so good. So, you know, elephant in the room, obviously Verzik's coming up. That's like the hardest room by far. So gotta figure out what I'm gonna say for that, but I'm sure it'll go fine. As long as you play consistently yourself, that's like the most important thing you can do. I would always play for your own life here. Try to use all your brews before you die, because it's a lot harder, especially the red crabs part of P2, the 35% part. That's like way harder to do when you're down people, so. Here, I'm putting my blowpipe here just in case I have to switch for the purple crab on P2. And we're just gonna start like normal. The only thing that's different about key. One is that we have to change pillars because the pillar gets like rocks around it when we stand behind it and the boss shoots it. So you see here, we just gotta do a little shuffle. The reason you have to move here is you actually make it from the start tile, you actually can make it all the way to this other pillar. But the problem is that the rocks can fall on that from that pillar side, so that's the reason you gotta kind of move over there. So here we went through the cycle once, and now I spec again. It's second person's turn again. This is real simple. You pretty much usually finish around the fourth person in a 4-man, so there I missed a tick, but you are allowed to miss one tick, so you know, and I would have a lot more to say if I was really trying to cover the raid fully, but this is definitely meant for like learners. And then also the thing is, I don't even know what I don't even know what I was gonna say, but we're going into P2, and the main thing here is you have to use 4 different tiles. So I usually use a square, like I'll show you basically, but here we want to make sure we kill this and don't get hit by a cabbage, hopefully. So here we're going to start going in like a circle or a square, whatever you want to call it, but and here I like to use this 5th tile if I'm not sure, because sometimes, you know, if someone was far away from the boss, it can throw a slow one and that can mess up the timing of it and make you have to use a 5th tile. So if you're not sure, you can always use this diagonal 5th tile. So that's what I like to do a lot. Also, some people don't like to pray range, but I would say pray range is pretty worth it. Unless you're absolutely certain that you're never ever going to make a mistake, but I don't know, even at my KC, I still feel it's worth it. I mean, I don't know. A lot of times I won't make a mistake, but it just is nice for the peace of mind, because I know if I get hit by something, I'm not going to use a huge amount of brew or whatever. So it does just make it a little more comfortable, in my opinion. Here we just redivine. Accidentally healed the boss there. That was a not so great mistake, but not the end of the world. In hard mode, it's pretty much okay to kill these crabs, and the reason being, they don't really work much differently than regular Tob, but they do damage when they die, so it does get quite annoying sometimes. So, you know, along with just the normal Tob annoyance of them moving into your path where you're clicking, there's like the additional annoyance of if they're next to you, they're just gonna do damage to you when they go back into her. So killing them is usually alright. You know, if you're going for like a maximum speed run, see like these guys did, they left the crab on that side on a really good health, which is nice, but you know, don't overthink it too much. If you want to just kill the crab, I would just kill the crab. It has been a while since I've done hard mode Tob, so it is kind of interesting to make this video. I am just trying to play it pretty consistently though. Ooh, he took, did he take mine? I don't even know, it's hard to say. I should have gotten the boss earlier though. We could have missed that potentially. So, things to remember on P3, on every special attack, the tank is re-chosen at random again, so it can choose the same person, but just be careful because it might change, so. Here, if we see a blue one in range of us, well, we can hit this green one actually, and then we can hit this green one. So, you know, there's certain ways you can kill crabs like that. You gotta like learn how to kill the crabs, I would say, because it makes things like that just like way easier, especially when your teammates are learners. You don't really know how your teammates are gonna... See, I'm not even tanking this properly, but we just want to make it to webs. So we made it on the right webs tick. I'm probably going to send because I feel like that's kind of the norm nowadays with the increase in DPS overall. But we are going to claw spec on this final face just because then we get the scythe off without getting meleeed. Because you see how one tick later we would have gotten meleeed. So here we're just trying to continue hitting until yellows, and then we're gonna remember our yellows corner is northwest, so I'm gonna just ping that just to make sure my teammate knows. And you see you have 2 ticks in between, so if you see I missed a tick on that second set, so I just went to the yellow faster because I knew I missed a tick. Can just stamina here to be safe. Like, you know, who knows? What if all my teammates die and I need stamina? You never know. Here, we got the ball, so we want to make sure we pass it. We can take it back from him. Alright, so he got it now, and that's going to do less damage, so he should be fine. And now we're going to try to finish the boss. It's Crab's next. And you see, we just keep trying to DPS and make sure we don't melee if possible. One more hit. We're on like an awkward tick there. We were like the tick, yeah, we had to just do it in a weird way there, but regardless, Casey got, and decent time, not the best, but let's see if we get anything. Never purple. Well, that's one down. I did get the MVP, unsurprisingly, because I didn't die, but good shit, yes, good shit, yes, indeed. Alright, well, that was a successful raid. We'll go on to the next one and see if we can learn anything else. Alright, so we're back in another raid now. Same team. I did actually ask the other major to bring a melee weapon for Nylo, so our Nylo will be even easier now, so that's a good thing. So make sure you coordinate with the other freezer, make sure you know who's melee at Nylo and whatnot, because that is like a slightly important thing. You don't really want to be claw scratching Nylo, so having like a dedicated Nylo weapon is usually a good idea. So we're just gonna try to stay simple and just show how to be consistent here. I just want to really show like kind of doing the same things over and over. You'll just see like I'm gonna wait again for at least 1 or 2 mauls to hit. Now we're gonna send BGS. And it's 4 defense isn't really worth this BGS, but it's fine. I'm just doing it out of principle. We want a 0 defense boss, so let's make that happen, you know? And you can even switch way early like this. You see how I'm switching just so early, and I'm even missing a little bit of DPS on the boss, but at the end of the day, if you can avoid missing crabs, it's going to be way more important than any other thing you can do, essentially. And see, his mistake is he's blood barraging, and he's moving in, which is just unnecessary. Because we're going to do the boss fast enough that we're not going to need to tank until 30 skip. Let's see there, I switched out of my gear. I didn't want to hit too late there. And we can just barrage a couple times. So see, I'm just going to send another barrage here. I saw that the blood was already frozen, so I went back for another barrage in the clump, and then we're going to skip again. So again, I'm going to catch 4s just to be safe. Probably get 1, maybe 2 more hits depending on people's hits. And we're just going to go 1, 2, and if the crabs aren't scuffed, then you can just do 4s like instantly. And see, he was actually ready to get 4s in that case, but it's probably better, in my opinion, just to not even worry about stuff like that. Like, yeah, on one hand, like, we could have done it a different way, but you can just do N123, S124 every raid, and there's not really much of a downside. So, because at the end of the day, since one person has to miss ticks anyway, it's actually better, in my opinion, that South does it because it requires less precision on the North Freezer's part. So the North Freezer doesn't have to tick perfect to 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, because if you're 1 tick late, you can't catch 4s there. So it just makes it a little easier on whoever's North, which in my opinion is just nicer. It's a chiller way to do it, in my opinion. So unless you're going for like, you know, I would say if you're stacking, then that's probably at the point where you could, you know, go for more advanced freezing techniques, you know, only do S1-2, do N1-2-3-4, but, you know, when you're with randoms, you just got to assume people are not gonna necessarily freeze all the crabs, so it's just easier just to assume they won't freeze all the crabs than to, oh, make sure you have your salve on here. I don't know why I didn't put it on, but Good save there. There, I barely had enough time. Just use my angler here, it's fine. Want to be safe from the flies. So here, you see we're playing around the corners and we're playing directly opposite of him when we can. Alright, so remember just to make sure we're not gonna take a foot here. Keep just looking right under you. We're probably not gonna get the 2 down again, so it's fine. We didn't really expect to though, that's the thing. If your team's like goated, then obviously just go for it, but you can kind of tell just based off the percent that it's on. Well, also this guy's a Soul Reaper axe, I guess that affects it too. Not to say that, I mean, the thing's pretty good, but definitely not a scythe on this thing, so. Teammate died. You see, the whole time I'm just making sure I don't die. And the one thing here is you just want to. I made sure I wasn't just pathing automatically because here you can still die. So. All right, good room again. Didn't die on bloat, so going for a deathless video here. You know, we're gonna see. I mean, that really is the goal, to be honest. It's just deathless video. You know, no deaths from me. Just carry if I need to. Hopefully not though. Hopefully people stay alive. Like that's why I'm saying the most important thing is just keeping yourself alive. Play your life always. Because as soon as someone dies in here, it just makes it a lot harder, regardless of what room it is, honestly. Deaths are just a lot more punishing in hard mode Tob overall. And again, that's why it's a good idea to consider ditching Void. I would definitely, like, this is definitely the inventory I would recommend. Also because it's harder to get a team as a freezer, and as you can see, it's not really too hard to freeze, especially if you just play it very safe. And Mage at Nylo is very chill, although, not to say it's easy, I mean, there's a lot to it, so it is still high skill ceiling, but it's quite fun. I like Mage. So here we actually are on the boss in time this time, which is an improvement. Almost late there, but not too bad. So here we just want to cast on these doubles. You always want to kill as many of the smalls as you can as fast as you can, as a general rule. Alright, we'll go for one scythe on the boss. But you see, we try to waste as minimal time as we can on the boss. We're not standing around like thinking about what to do. It's like if it goes melee, I'm gonna try to scythe it one time, maybe twice if I'm early, and that's about it. There's nothing more you can do really, and you don't want to really hit it on mage. Range is okay if you're the range DPS because you already have like void in your range gear on, so that's totally acceptable. But definitely don't really want to hit it on mage. Melee is really good, obviously. That's the best. And so here, wave 20 is another demiboss, so you see we're ready to switch there. And now, after this demi, there's always this barrage wave here. Sometimes it stalls, but here it didn't, so we got the barrage off. Here we're just going to keep trying to kill the small ones here for a little while. Hopefully we kill some. We're getting a little unlucky. Alright, so see here on this part with all the melee aggros, I'm praying melee, and then now I'm praying mage because most of the rest of the aggros are mage except for this one, so I'll actually just help with this aggro real quick. Just save my team some health. Kill some aggros, do some barraging when you see a good barrage. So here I'm just going to pray melee against the demiboss this time. Now we get to pray against everything because it's mage. Pray against the demi again. And now it's nice to start hitting the boss as soon as you can. Even if there's still one or two Nylos left in the room, it's still fine to just hit the boss here. Because this one's probably going to pop anyways, so we're going to end up finishing the room a lot earlier. Yeah, you see it just ends up, the timing ends up being good here. Alright, so same thing. We want a BGS to start. This thing has 50 defense, so usually BGSing is good. If you don't know if your team's doing it, I would just say always BGS. And here, I can actually just do two-way switches if I switch my top like that. And you see it's nice when it goes range melee. Not only is it our best DPS, but it also is just super easy, so this is very convenient. It doesn't even really look like a hard mode at the moment because I'm just chilling. Now we gotta remember to move in, so just don't forget it's hard mode just because a couple of phases are easy. It's one thing to remember. And just try to remain focused here. This is kind of comparable to triple jabs at the Inferno, I would say, where, you know, if you miss a good couple of ticks where you're just not paying attention, it's very easy to die here, so just make sure you're paying attention always, I would say. Then so you can kind of chill a little bit more on, to be honest. I mean, not to say you should, you know, do stupid things on SOAP, but SOAP is a lot harder to make mistakes on if you just play it simply with like Torva on, because you can play very simple and just pray mage most of the time. So here, you don't have to bother getting the pre-fire off. I actually missed a tick last raid, so here I didn't miss the tick, so it was fine because I didn't miss any ticks doing it. Last one I actually missed a tick into my first scythe because I lost a tick on the T-bow entry, so it's not really too worth it to do the pre-fire. It's honestly better to just run in with a hammer out if you're gonna do Warhammer. I do think it is time for me to back up. I think I was a little late on that, so that's my bad. You do want to back up like as soon as possible. I was just not paying attention, to be honest. But that's an important thing to note. You see here, I don't even have to pray melee. It's very chill. So here we go to the third row, just like regular top. If you were the maze runner, you just want to stop here and then you can always go to the tile one north of the last tile because that's always the first tile of their part of the maze. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's an interesting thing to take note of because it helps in certain situations. Like there, I just got an extra tile gap on the tornado, which is nice. Oh, we're getting very unlucky with our specs. So we're probably getting death balls here, so just keep that in mind. So we're ready to move to the middle because we are on like the far part. Yeah, the hammers aren't hitting too well here. So I can always go to the tile one north of the last tile. And a straight line out. Can't complain. Don't have a spec now. So it's last phase, so the norm is just to ticky. If they want to split it in the middle, it doesn't harm anything, so. Oh, I had a little lag spike there. It was scary, but good thing I still ate it on the right tick. That's good. Alright, just moving away from the boss and make sure I don't get meleeed there at the end, because that would not be nice. And same things we bought last time, so probably easy way to do this is just drop that. Stamina, 2 restores. brew and a shark. There you go. Nice and easy. Karambon is pretty much the same as a shark, more or less. It has an attack delay of one less tick, which makes it better for certain things, but overall, just about the same. So again, we can actually just scythe once and then double BGS. That's kind of an easier way to let them get their hammers off, because they'll pretty much all get a hammer off always then. That way we make sure we're zero defensing it the large majority of the time, which is like by far the most important thing in both Maiden and Zarpus. So keep that in mind. That's like one of the best things you can do is just doing proper specs at Maiden and Zarpus. I see they didn't hit, so I'm actually just waiting. Hopefully they hammer again. See, so there, it was just I just was flexible there, and now it actually is perfectly zero defense. How does, funny how that works out. Oh, and I'm taking my teammate's tile on his side. My bad. Yeah, so also ragging this tile here is inefficient. See, this is because I haven't done hard mode in a little while, so you can see how I'm rusty myself. I'm not even ragging the right tile. And the reason it's not the right tile is because it takes all those other tiles that I could have used away from me. So now I can't use any of these 3 tiles, which is just kind of annoying. So better would have been to rag the tile right here. Which if we do another one, we will show that in the next one. Here we can do some like trickery to hit on these tiles. And remember, we can rag these tiles close to them as well. So we'll actually just move here and just purposely rag this one, and then we have one more tile to move to, so that should be good. So like one more hit. Here we can get one more hit in, and then it's gonna turn. We can just keep attacking, so that's a nice situation where we don't even have to stop attacking, which is always a nice thing. So we could stamina right here to not lose the 10 HP because we get the restore, but don't really want to do that because then we're going to run out of the timer before the raid ends probably, which is not what we want, so want to be divine the whole time if possible. And the same thing, P1's pretty easy in my opinion. The one mistake you don't want to make is you don't want to, if you miss the staff on one rotation, you don't want to run back and then have the rocks fall on both pillars, because that's kind of problematic if you can imagine that scenario. But overall, if you just keep moving one pillar to the next, even if you miss like a cycle of the staff spec, you probably are going to be fine. So I know that this is my turn coming up, so I'm going to get ready to pick up the staff. Really the most important thing is just getting the staff spec off there. Really getting an extra Dawnbringer auto in there is not really a huge deal. A huge scythe there. Oh, I think I'm taking, okay, I'm taking a hit there. That's not good. But what am I going to do? I'm going to brew up to full and get off the pillar. Well, almost making a bunch of mistakes there. The rust is showing, boys. It's okay, though. You can still make mistakes, though. See, that's what I do is I just make mistakes and then I just hide it under the fact that I'm just trying to show you what to do if you make mistakes, you know? Oh, nice. We have another crab killer here. That's good to see. You see, so it's gonna be interesting over the course of this video. I'm just gonna be improving in real time as I de-rust. So, see, now I'm starting to kill some crabs again, that's a good thing as well. Killing crabs, especially if your team is like a learner or semi-learner team. This is probably like a semi-learner team. They kind of know what's going on, but you know, they're definitely not like 1,000 KC people. But you know, it's hard to be 1,000 KC people, so you know, it's all good. It's all good. I think they're doing great for their KC though. See, this one guy should be praying range though, in my opinion. Unless you're gonna run out of prayer, because like you know, if you gauge it that you're gonna run out of prayer, then obviously turn off prayer range. But I feel like it's almost necessary. So here, look, to play easy, we just go here. I'm just making sure we're not on the same tile as the cabbage is thrown to. These guys are making me a little nervous, so I just hope they brew up in time. Okay, it's fine. I took a poison, but I didn't heal the boss, so I'll take that as a W. Making sure I don't take a range hit here. And I'm trying to get back to my side just so I don't accidentally hit my teammate with my own range hit. But here, you should know that this only has a 1 in 4 chance to range here. It has a 3 in 4 chance to use the blood attack, the magic attack. So it's not too likely that it'll range, but you obviously still have to play around it. There, I just chanced to bounce, but it's all good. So I'm gonna try to show again what to do during the yellows, because yellows are like a place where a lot of people have trouble, and I feel like the way I do it is pretty consistent. The main thing is you want to get away from wherever your yellows spawn. As to path the tornado away from it, so that's the important thing, is you can't have your tornado close to you when you hit the yellows is the ideal case. Be as far away from your tornado as you can, so as soon as the yellows spawn, you can like run across the room is the goal. Now obviously you can't take it to too much of an extreme, because then you can get too far away and you can't even make it, but you know. Here I wasn't really in a good position to mage these. I can kill that one, but he has to keep running. So if your teammates are killing the crabs, then you can keep running away. That's the thing I would say. You have to, it depends on what your teammates are doing. If none of your teammates are killing the crabs, then maybe you don't want to run away and you just want to pop a crab that's on you, but here we're just potting up while on webs, which is something you can do. It is a little more advanced though, so not necessarily a learner thing. If you were a learner, just maybe pot up after, but here we're gonna do the same thing, and we have to claw spec here so that we can get a scythe off here, because we see we're one tick away from getting meleeed. I think that's yellows coming up. Alright, so we're just gonna do a little maneuver here. See, perfect, perfection. There we go. So we're just gonna get our health up just a little bit more so that we're ready for the green ball. But wait, is this? Oh, this thing's almost dead though, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. Never mind, I got baited. Alright, I got the ball again, so we don't want to trade, we want to follow so that we make sure we still have it. He's gonna pass it to someone. You can't worry too much though, like I wanted to take it back off of him, but at the end of the day, it's his job to pass it off to someone. Like, it's not your responsibility to keep your teammate alive at the end of the day. Like again, as I was saying, like, make sure you play your life first. And also, you always want to get on the second webs if you don't finish it in time. So here we just barely finished before webs. But if you don't, oh wow, I died, but it doesn't count. It's okay. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. If it says you have died, so it didn't count. All good. We will GL. Never purple. It's okay. And our MVP again, which is we are MVPing. But that's what you expect. If you just play clean, you don't even have to do anything special. You don't have to bring void. You'll probably MVP if you just play it cleanly. So that's pretty much overall what I'm trying to show. Never kits. We are not seeing anything today. Unfortunate. But another raid down, and yeah, I think I'll probably send one or two more, and yeah, I'll see you in the next raid. Let's go. Alright, so we found another team, and this time we are North Freeze, so the only difference is we are bringing a Swiftblade instead of a Heart. And you might be wondering why I don't have a defender. Now, yes, it's technically a little bit troll to not have a defender, but in my opinion, it's just really nice to not have to drop items before the rooms in some cases, so that's kind of my reasoning there, and it really doesn't affect you too much. It's never going to like wipe your Nylo room or anything, so now, obviously if you want to try hard, then obviously I would bring a defender. You probably should bring a defender in reality, but regardless, just don't look. Just pretend there's a defender, somewhere. But anyway, same kind of spec order as before, so we're going to BGS most likely. We're going to wait for some hammers to go off. We're going to do the same kind of consistent things. And we're just going to focus on what we do, because what our team does, like, we just can't really affect it too much, so... Well, what we could have affected is maybe putting Piety on for the BGS spec. That would have been preferable, but... Yeah, I'm just trolling at the moment, so... You see how I'm on time for the crabs here, so that's the important part. I'm back to bowing the boss. You see, I catch the south 3 just because in case the south 2 is frozen in a spot, we're only catching the south 3 will hit the south 2. I don't know, that was a mouthful, but hopefully that made some kind of sense. I am now casting at the blood spawn because its hitbox is awful, apparently. Hitbox is like blocking the crab there. It's pretty troll. See, so again, I'm gonna assume my teammate's not gonna freeze 4s, even as North Freeze, so now I know I'm on tick, so I can catch all 4. He catches them too, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure we get 4s. We don't want to have any problems at Maiden. Alright, that was a little close, but... So, salve on. Forgot the salve last time, so make sure salve on early. It's going to be interesting to see what our time is. It's fun to see what your time is with different teams as well. I think our last 2 raids were not super impressive, but they weren't the worst either. They were pretty good. Especially considering some of the people were pretty low KC. This team's a little bit higher KC. So we'll see. See how it affects the time in the end. You see, I just make sure I'm not pathing into a shadow here on the floor. Always looking underneath, I'm not saying much during these parts, but it's because I'm paying attention, making sure I'm not taking extra damage. You also lose time attacking as well, so it's not good for multiple reasons. So he tried to run through the boss, but then it turned directions, which is unlucky, but that is the risk you take, I guess, in hard mode Tob if you try to run underneath it. It just turned a third time. That was pretty crazy, I will say. So it's certainly, it could be a 3 down. We might even 4 down. Well, someone hit a good chally, I think, so that's good. Our hits were pretty alright there. I was considering going for an extra hit just to kind of ensure the 3 down, but as long as we don't wipe, that's really the only thing we're trying to mainly avoid. And you'll notice all the shadows, they all come at the same timing, so once you see them, you can move to a spot that doesn't have a shadow, and that means you're safe. And I'm just watching where I'm moving here, making sure it's not a bad spot. Nice, and we got it, so that's a good thing. Alright, so now I get to show off melee at Nylo, which is pretty interesting, I guess. I mean, a lot of the times, some things I'll like hit some majors, I'll help a little bit with mage because I'm the only other person with full mage gear, so that's one thing, but really it'll just be stabbing a lot of things with Swiftblade, so it is a role I've done a very lot in this raid is North Freeze and melee at Nylo, so I will be happy to show it, but although I am probably still rusty, so that being said, but we will do our best here. I will call East because I want to kill the East melees, and I know like all the stuff that spawns East, although I do know most of the West, of course, but you know, a little more experience on East, so may as well take what we're comfy with. And see here, because I don't have a defender, I never have to worry about switching to my blowpipe as well. I can just be full inventory here, that's the other nice thing. It makes this Nylo experience very relaxed. Alright, so the next wave, the nice thing about melee is you're already in gear for the demiboss, so you just have to switch to your sights. So here, you can get like a pretty late hit on like a small Nylo here. And we will go back to doing this. Hopefully our mage freezes the doubles there, which he did. We're trolling a little. We could have scythed those, but not a huge deal. And obviously, if you want, you can sacrifice one more inventory slot to take an imbued harden even as melee, but it is kind of up to you. Personally, I like to be conservative with my inventory space and just save the supply just in case my team ends up dying, but again, it's kind of your decision, I guess. It is a really, really good switch to bring here, though. See a big scythe, so I just really wanted to go for that. He saw it too, though, so it's a little bit of a waste of time from me. Because if your teammate's going to do it anyway, then you're just both hitting the same thing at that point. Make sure I kill that before it pops. Alright, yeah, it was about to pop, so I just know because it does every raid, basically. Mostly just killing the smalls and then killing the aggros here. Just see big barrage, I go for big barrage. And I do want to pray against the demi here. I am kind of neglecting it at some points, but you do want to make sure you keep praying against it because it's the thing that's going to do the most damage to you here. I just see a lot of mages, so I'm just helping mage. Here I can get one scythe in. Guess I'll try to take the same spot I take usually. We'll see if they let me. Looks like they are, which is nice. So we are just going to start the same way again. Same thing every time, basically, and you can just do this every time. Worst case scenario, if your teammates also BGS, you're technically wasting a spec, but it's really not the end of the world. And it's way better to make sure the boss is 0 defense overall. Let's see, we got lucky, it goes range. That's so nice when this happens. Let's see, hard mode top will be easy if you just do this. You hope it goes melee and then range every time, but obviously it won't always. Oh, I moved. I should have trusted in it. Should have known it wouldn't have let me down. What was I thinking? See, now it has no faith in me anymore. Yeah, what can you do? But neglected to get my claw spec in, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world, really. Really not a big deal. Here, I was too close to my teammate there. I was only a 1 tile. I need to be a 2 tile gap. That's the thing that happened there. I made that little mistake there, but as long as you're praying the right thing, you're probably going to be fine in that case. If you're not praying, that's when you'll take a big hit, so. Very careful on the Nylo boss. It's one of the hardest parts of hard mode top for a learner, for sure. So we'll call Northwest again. So a lot of times I'll call the same role every raid. You can kind of figure out what role you like, and then, I mean, specs it doesn't really matter, but I like to be backup just because some people mess it up. So we made a little mistake there, but we're all good. See, I made sure I just shark brewed, which is a smart thing to do there. We're gonna see if our teammates hit or miss. It's 1 miss, so I'm just gonna get ready to. Oh no, okay, we hit 2. Sometimes your teammates overspec as well, which looks like might have been what happened here. I think it might have been what happened last raid as well. Yeah, see, he's saying someone spec 3, please. That looks like it's my job, so that's okay though. As soon as they're all here, we're gonna just start right away. It's also good to learn how the movement in the maze works, or just how movement in the game in general works. Just makes this part a lot easier if you already like know the fundamentals of movement. Make sure we spec here. He's dead. You see how we took damage early, but what I did was I recovered from the mistake by brewing early. I healed up very early. If you take damage early, you see if I say I took a 50 here, I could maybe get away with not brewing up because it's so low, but for sure, just be careful. You know, if it's early on, like if it's the first phase, you just run in the room and you take damage, you probably just brew right away in that case, honestly. Because I see so many people dying like that, they take damage early and they don't want to heal. It's like, just heal, man. Come on. What are you saving the brew for? But anyway, rant aside. Here we have the luxury of taking a manto, or we could take a brew, but I think I'd rather the manta just for the combo eat. It's kind of up to you though. It's personal preference at the end of the day. Having an extra brew isn't a bad thing, but probably not necessary, especially this team seems pretty decent, so. Your teams, especially if we do raids for a while, your teams will vary wildly, so One raid, you'll get a really good team. The next raid, yeah. So yeah, you know, just luck of the draw in weedy raids. But I enjoy it, honestly. You know, for all the people that talk trash about it, I mean, I have to say, like, I've done a large majority of my KC with weedy raids, and I've had a good experience overall. Obviously, I've seen everything now, but you know, I'd say all in all, it's been a good place to find teammates for sure. And most people are decent, so it's good to see. And you should, you know, hopefully if you watch this video, you should feel confident to go and weedy raids yourself. That's, you know, hopefully the goal of this video, I guess. Again, I'm starting on the wrong tile, which is just not sure why I keep doing that. It's fine, it's fine. I just want to make it harder. It's all good. So I'm just locking myself out of all these tiles here. It's all good. Yeah, so just don't start on that tile. You can just start on the middle tile between the two corners or whatever. That's probably the best place. In hard mode at least. Just the thing is I've been doing a lot of regulars, but in regulars you want to actually start where I started because then you're not messing up the spot for where you have to run afterwards, but you know, because on Screech in regular you have to run around, which means you don't really want to ruin the area you have to run on. I'm just doing some shenanigans here. This part's pretty easy. Just make sure you start it the right way, obviously. If you start this wrong, then you're liable to just I've seen whole teams die here, you know. I mean, like I said, I mean, I've seen everything here. I've seen teams wipe at Zarpus multiple times. I mean, you better believe it. So yeah. Don't wipe at Zarpus in hard mode. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Be patient, but not too patient. I mean, once it turns once, you can just hit it. So that's what I would say for that. Hopefully someone's gonna get the staff. I could drop a manta for it. Okay, he's dropping a manta for it. Let's go. All right, so want to drop like two things at least here again. Nothing too much to say about P1. I feel like I've covered most of it at this point. If you're not starting, make sure you're clicking the boss before so you get your hit off as soon as possible. And piety is optional. It's nice, but it's not really at all necessary. It's like rarely going to save you a cycle of the staff. That's pretty rare though, I would say. So here's first person again, and then now we're in North Freeze this time, so now we get it here. So I'd like to move this here so that it's easier to click. Inventory management and just organization helps a lot. Goes a long way, to be honest, so make sure you're not confused about where your stuff is. So one thing you might have noticed is I like to brew up to 115 before P2 and I'm praying range. I'm just doing all the safe things and it's exactly what I would recommend as well. So, you know, no reason not to play it safe here. And just remember the crabs can spawn immediately. Like they're off cooldown at the start of P2, so you're ready for that. There, I popped one. My teammate popped the other one for me, which, you know, I mean, I'll take it. Thank you, buddy. We will take it. Oh, and then I'm taking a bounce, which You know, I'm just... it's karma. Alright, so anyway. Making sure we move back to different tiles. You see, sometimes I'm not sure and I use this 5th tile here diagonal, so that's something you can always do if you're not sure. If you forget where you move to, then just use the 5th tile. Say like you just can use the 5th tile whenever you want. There's no harm really. Here we're gonna pop this one just because we can. Make sure we don't heal it. So as soon as it drops under 35%, the next vortex cycle is when it's gonna spawn the red crabs and start healing itself. Get one more hit in right there, and then we actually might be able to kill it here. Now, I would recommend making sure you're brewed up here because I think I am in kill range here, so be really careful about that. If we don't get it this down, then I'm definitely gonna just brew up to full probably. Or not probably, but definitely at this point. I'm playing very risky here is what I'm trying to say. So just be aware of like your health and how much damage the stuff can deal to you, because like the range attack with the poison, it adds extra damage to it. You see it's 54 plus 11 he just took. That's a lot of damage. It's 65 and 1 tick he just took. So just be really careful on P2 in hard mode for sure. See here, I'm dodging the potential melee attacks if my teammate doesn't tank right. That's just because I don't know if this guy's gonna tank right. Here I would miss a tick, so now I'm just... Now here, there I'd have to wait long, so I'm just gonna let him pop that because there's only 1 crab. Playing safe, trying not to take any melees. If I lose a little DPS to not take melees, it's probably fine. So if you start seeing a lot of melees, feel free to play a little safe. Looks like we're pushing good DPS, so we may be able to proc on webs again, which is, I guess web proc is just the meta now, so I mean it kind of always has been, but especially lately, every gear upgrade they bring into the game just makes it better and better, so probably proc on this side actually. So because we procced it early enough, we can show off Pog Tank off of webs, but someone, I'm not sure if that was my fault. I'm definitely gonna have to watch that back because I don't think I messed up, but I may have. So either way, we're just trying to make sure we get all our hits in here. And I am northwest, so I'm just gonna see I start kind of on the opposite side. So clearly he thought he was northwest, but he was not, so. Always remember what corner you are. Good thing he moved off in time, otherwise I would have had to try to combo eat it, but it does happen, it does happen. Wow, we're 3 for 3 on green balls. I have to try to take this back, but he's not gonna let me. Okay, no, he lived. He had combo eats. Alright. I was gonna say, where did the crabs go? Yeah, wow, that was quite fast then. The Verzik was quite a bit faster. Yeah, it's all good. It happens. Things like that happen in hard mode, don't even worry. Never purple, never purple. But we did deathless again, so that's, you know, not as a team, but individually deathless, so we take it. Another pretty clean raid. Messed up a little on, oh my god, he got a dust! Dude, he got a dust! He got a dust! Holy. Okay, so it turns out the dust was a dupe. So he wasn't too happy, but regardless, I think those are some good examples for a hard mode Tom learner to watch. And just wanted to say thanks again for all the support on the recent videos and for 1,000 subs. I still am in disbelief at that. I think it's absolutely crazy the support my videos have been getting. So with that being said, make sure to subscribe if you aren't already. And I left some plugins I found important for hard mode tab in the description below, so make sure you check that as well if you want. And other than that, just wanted to say thank you all for watching and peace.